Hello friends, hope you guys are having a great day. Today, I noticed that there's a West roadmap released. Team Update 2024 Summer Roadmap Changes. It came out on June 12th. I wanted to take the time to review it with you guys, follow with the past information from the past videos I made, and the roadmap differences from the Korea roadmap. I mean, obviously there's still information that we need to know until the Lisha's letter comes out for Korea. Lisha's letter is like the written version for the Korea roadmap. That information have like the eye levels and like other informations that you need to understand what you're exactly expecting. But the NA roadmap itself, it has a lot of great information, and this is definitely something to be super excited about. So let's get to it right away. So we have the raid solo mode, and this is coming out on July. So we're getting T4 in July, and we're also getting solo mode in July too. So basically we're pretty much getting the cool stuff that I think that has a lot of value to the new players pretty soon. This is the career roadmap. We're getting the season 3 on July, and then we're getting the new area, and then we're getting the arc passes, all this tier 4 stuff. We're getting that on July, and this particular raid is coming maybe around July 24th or 31st because it said end of July. I don't know when the exact date would be, but earlier the better, because the new player can just start right away, and then you guys are going to be having a lot of support, the tier 3 support. Look at the honing price up until 1580 will decrease, crafting upgrade, set upgrade will decrease, transmuting price, and all that stuff together. Again, the only thing I don't like about this is Elixir and Transcendence is way too much burden to the new players. So I wish Smilegate could know this and probably take a feedback that Elixir and Transcendence is definitely something that a new player is not going to enjoy. But you know, you can't really ask for too much, but these are some of the feedbacks I usually say about Elixirs and Transcendence. I think they're just a failure of a system. It's pretty fun for existing players to be introduced as a new thing, but as a catch-up minigame stuff, it is not great. I don't know what you guys think about it, but from the comments I see on YouTube, a lot of people really hate these systems, and I really understand why, because it takes so much time, there's so much RNG, so much gold being wasted, etc. I really wish that there was like another system that combines it together and make it even more simple so that you know exactly what you're doing and what you're actually progressing to make your character stronger. Besides that, they're just trying to alleviate, they're just trying to make things a little bit cheaper, but essentially it's really not. That would be the negative feedback that I have for this. And the permanent engraving support 5.3 is also really good. So let's say you're a brand new player right now, up to like Valton. So I think Valton is the most fun raid in this whole game when you play it for the first time. Vikis, maybe solo mode Vikis could be fun. Clown's really fun. Broshaza and then Akan. Broshaza not so much Akan, but the raid mechanics that they made in the past, this game has been really popular for Korea for their raids. So if you're a brand new player, by just starting, I am pretty sure you can at least enjoy Valton, Vikis, Kokol Sedan, and Broshaza up to that point without much of a problem on progressing. So you'll be progressing at your own pace. And if you guys get this exact support event on top of that, that's what you get to enjoy. So again, I told this to you guys on the past videos that I really suggest you guys just to try it out. And then if you guys don't like it as much, you kind of know what you're signing up for, which is the elixirs and transcendence and stuff. And a bunch of like, and when you go to get to Theamai and the later raids, there's got to be like gatekeep and all these things. So enjoying up to a Khan or even Voldy's, which is even higher, it's just gonna be a couple months of fun. So if you don't really have anything to do, that's what I would be really suggesting. And for Ivory Tower, the third gate removed, I really wished either the first or the second gate being removed, but you know, they chose it as third gate. I really don't mind because I really don't run Ivory Tower anymore. And the end game progression event, this is the thing that I was talking about. So some of you guys who are playing this game right now, who just started recently, maybe like 3 months ago or 2 months ago, you guys may be around like 1580 or 1600. So for 1580 players, I think this is the event towards for who are 1580. There's not going to be that many players who are 1580 and below, because getting to 1580 with all these new supports applied, it's going to be like a cakewalk to get to 1580. But from 1580 to 1600, 1600 to 1620, plus elixirs and transcendence is going to be the dead zone, the absolute dead zone, where you're going to have to require so much gold. It's going to be so much stress if you keep missing it. And transcendence does have pity, but elixirs don't, which is the shitty part about it. I hope this endgame event is pretty much similar to the ones that we have, so all the new players and existing players can catch up as fast as possible. Going back to the Super Makoko Express we have right now that we're expecting, it's going to be 1600 eye level, and you'll be getting a 1520 character, getting Bro Shaza gear as a set level 2 bonus, and then you get a Khan gear at 1580. So getting to 1580 is going to be very easy, and from up to 1540 is going to be silver only. So you're pretty much spending gold from 1540 to 1580. When you reach 1580, you're going to be honing a little more because a Khan gear is going to be very easy to hone. To 1600 is actually pretty easy, and at 1600 you can go to the Voldy's normal as a solo mode. That's where the eye level is. And if you get to 1610, you get to try out Theomine normal to get your Transcendence to level 3, and then from there you can get legendary elixirs to get a 40 set at 1620 running Voldy's hard. And you can also do Echidna normal, and Echidna normal can give you advanced honing, and when you do advanced honing you get to increase a little bit with a fraction of a price compared to the regular honing and reach 1630, which will open you up for Transcendence to up to level 7. So all this stuff is pretty much the hard part for newbies, but to get to 1580 and 1600 with not much of a difficulty, you get to enjoy the raid content up to Voldy's solo. So this is the more important part that people should get to help to experience the early game, so they can actually experience what they're looking for and what they're expecting when they reach endgame. And again, returning to the 1610 point, so if you get to 1610, they give you free tokens as well, and if you get to 1620, they give you free elixirs as well. And if you hone a little more and then you're actually like hooked into the game and then you play a lot, you can get to 1640 by going to tier 4. 1620 to 1640 is pretty much a free jump. And if you get to 1640, you're going to be enjoying a bunch of raids, and at 1640, Theomine hard and Echidna hard is going to be much easier compared to running it on item level. Also, for those of you who are thinking about engravings and gems, this is also super important. There's a bunch of video that I made in the past year, builds, like as in you have an accessory to have +5 grudge and +3 raid captain or something like that. Honestly, I think that's the stupidest shit for new players. It's like, it's just too much information. There's a lot of confusing stuff. So what they did was, remember engraving support system where they give you a 5-3. This is going to be default. On top of that, gems are really confusing as well. This means that if you use the raid tokens, you can trade level 6 gems and level 7 gems. I don't know the limit for this, but this doesn't have any limitation. So essentially your character can have a full level 7 gem, which is technically enough up to like a Khan, as long as you have the eye level advantage. These two stuff is going to help the new players to not worry about adding maths like doing like stones and all this stuff to get a particular 5-3 set. You can just click whatever you want and follow a guide. Oh, so I need these 5 engravings to do it. 5-3s in a 1 and 5-3s in a 2. For those of you guys who are thinking about that, that is going to be obsolete at T4. At T4, we're going to be at 6-3 and with different setups. So there's no reason for the new players to learn like the +5 accessory and like cut a 7-7 stone, like a 9-6 stone, all that stuff out of the window. And I think that's very important to make the game simplified for new players to actually sign up to the game. Obviously, the problem is gatekeep, but gatekeep is something that I'm not going to talk about in this video in detail, but that's what you'd be expecting as a new player to coming back, or the return player that's coming back. So in summary, if you're a new player and then you have this Makoko Express happening, is probably the best thing because you can experience up to a Khan even without trying at all. And for returning players that have been really fatigued and you can't really progress, etc., when they come back, they can use the same Makoko Express on your existing main and try a little more until you actually finish the missions that the Express gives it to you. So you have two choices for both returning players and new players. And I want this to be exactly the same for the West as well, because we're only 2 months behind now. I would consider the West version pretty much the same thing, except the latest raid that we have, which we're going to talk about right now, the Endgame Evolution September section. Curzon Continent, you guys are getting at September. We have this at July. So we're technically getting the same Endgame content, and we're technically getting T4 about the same time. It's just that we're going to be preparing for a different raid, and you guys are going to be getting a different one, the one before that, which is Behemoth raid. And Behemoth raid's requirement is 1640, and this took such a long time for us to prepare from 1630, even though it's advanced honing. Technically, you will need to get your gear to be like 1630 at least, and getting from 1620 to 1630 is so expensive, and I'm pretty sure you guys who are listening to this who try to raise your eye level to that point, you guys would know. In this case, if you guys are 1620 right now and we're kind of working on elixirs, I would suggest to park there, as I said on the video before and the before that, because if you transfer your gear to the relic gear of T4, you'll be 1640 immediately. That means you can try the Behemoth raid and you can go to Theomine hard to unlock your next set of transcendences. The big question is, if you transfer over 1620 to 1640, can you beat Behemoth? The thing is, the Behemoth raid is very, very simple, but to mention it's a 16-man raid. Like 16-man raid, imagine you're playing with randoms. If you have a static, it's definitely doable, but if you're playing with random players with 16-man raid, it's going to be very difficult. Personally, I don't like the Behemoth raid. I did like this raid first 2 weeks, first third week maybe, and when it became like the 5th and the 6th and the 7th week, gathering 16 people took longer than actually clearing the raid. And I think 16-man raid itself is a failure. And obviously the director did say that, oh, it's a bad raid, etc. I wish that they would change this in a certain way, maybe turn it into 8-man raid or nerf it even farther so that we can actually just clear this in a casual way for like a very small, easy rewards, because Behemoth is going to be the starting point for most of you guys. Some of the return players, even new players, and the players that are existing right now, and even the Korean players. Like, we have to run Behemoth raid for a while, and by this, in the future, if I had to estimate, this may kill a lot of the Korean players to be leaving the game, because the Behemoth raid actually really sucks. It really does, and they probably need to look into fixing it. It felt like so much of a chore waiting for people, and the raid itself is actually not that fun. So for us, we're, you know, just dead waiting for the new raid to come out. But when the new raid come out, we still need to play Behemoth because it's the top 3 raid. So you will be playing something like the new Kazuros raid, Behemoth, and then Theomine hard or something like that. So it's going to be pretty despair estimate, and I hope they kind of fix it. And then you guys will understand when you actually do the Behemoth raid. So from ending it there, let's talk about T4 a little bit. So the T4 gear, I'm not gonna talk too much about it because the past videos I did talk about it a lot. Whenever you just run the Chaos Dungeon, you're gonna be dropping the gear just like the tier 2 to tier 3, and then if you transfer the gear, you'll be instantaneously 1640, and all the stuff existing gear can be used, and elixir transcendence settings are going to be all preserved. You're going to be keeping all your stuff. So if you're a player right now is stuck at 1620, don't spend like a lot of the gold to push your character to 1630 because it's a lot of money. I think I would just personally try focusing on elixirs and maybe transcendence to all 3s. And when Echidna comes out for you guys, which is next week, you can do advanced honing. And with advanced honing, you can get to 1630. And when you get to 1630, you can beat Theomine hard and then raise your transcendence level to 7 to get your characters more powerful. Elixir wise, it can vary from like 17% to like 26% for like crazy elixirs. And for transcendence, I have all 20 stars here, which is all level 7, including the weapon. It would be around like 17% because you guys don't have the weapon transcendence yet. You can get weapon transcendence from Behemoth. So coming back to talk about tier 4 a little bit more, you guys are getting this at September. We're getting this at July, so you guys have a lot more months to prepare. Considering 1620 is the ballpark to park it and then transfer the gear, and then you can work on getting all these other things done at 1640, but the eye level itself will access Theomine and Echidna, etc. You can see how easy it is when you just transfer over from eye level. In all essence, if you have a 1620 character, you would just park it there, and if you want to try Echidna hard and Theomine hard, you can use the advanced honing from Echidna normal to use the lowest amount of gold to get to 1630 to enjoy the content there. Obviously, the problem is gatekeep, but if you have a static that is willing to do that, that is probably the smartest way to spend. And whenever September happens, everyone's going to be jumping over from 1620 to 1640. The 3 raid is going to be Behemoth, Echidna hard, and then Theomine hard. And then you can work on your transcendence there to level 7 to increase your damage up even further to get ready for the new raid, because the new raid is probably going to require full transcendence and probably a level 7 or 8 gem. No one knows this point. We probably have to run it blind first to figure it out, but all raids, the requirement is usually the eye level that is specified. The eye level isn't even specified for the new raid, so we don't know what's coming out next. But the best part is, you guys get it at September, we get it at July. So what is important here is someone like me, I will try to figure it out in July, and there's going to be new builds, and everyone's kind of starting at an equal footing. You get to try all these different engravings. There might be a different build because those are based on points on 3 different aspects. And gems, like what is the most efficient gem that we need for the new raid, ability stones, accessories, all these things all together, they're all coming starting at a clean slate. With all those information, you keep that there, and then you progress it there. Your level 10 tier 3 gem, if you have them, personally me, I'm not selling or buying or anything. If it's cheap, I'm gonna buy more. If I just transfer the level 10 gem to level 8, it's just gonna stay there. I think my static is going to challenge the new raid with a T4 level 8 gem on damage and cooldown or something. I'm not gonna make them spend a shit ton of gold to get to level 9 or 10 because it's a little too much. Like my static is usually how the best that you can provide, and level 10 doesn't seem actually be feasible and like to be done in 1 month unless you spend a lot of resources. The roadmap mentions Q4 fall 2024 of you guys getting the new raid. So we're getting the raid at July, and then it's expected to be released at end of July. So which is 24th or the 31st. And the interesting part is, if you guys are getting it at September, maybe you guys are getting the raid at October or even end of September, but who knows? During September, what we're getting is the raid after that, which is the Broshaza Kazaros raid. So there's a Khan Kazaros raid and there's Broshaza Kazaros raid. It's like a Abyss boss plus like Broshaza. So you notice like gate 1 is a Khan and gate 2 is a being from an Abyss. That guy kind of looks like that Bloodborne boss where he swings like a bunch of things. Maybe he took reference to that, you know? And for Hyper Awakening, it's the same thing. You guys said Q4. We're getting this on August. And August, they did say like it might be delayed, you know, because it's a lot of work. Basically, it's like a new skill for every single class. We have 26 classes, and we're adding every single Awakening plus every single T skill. We have a T skill now. And then various passives on top of that. So if it ever get delayed, I kind of understand. If it doesn't, you guys will be getting it at Q4. So if all this stuff is happening as it is, basically major content wise, the global player for Lost Ark is 2 months behind, and that's pretty exciting. And after like a next big update, I'm pretty sure maybe we're gonna be on the same version, and I think that's gonna be really nice to be excited about. So to wrap up with the TLDR, if you're a new player, it's super exciting at July based on what kind of Makoko Express event that you get. If you just straight up try the game and get the Makoko Express, you get to play Valton Raid, Vikis, Clown, and Broshaza right away after ticket. And if you hone a little bit from there, you can also challenge a Khan. And after that, you can do up to Voldis. And if you really like the game, you can keep honing from there, and your goal is to get to 1620. For returning players, if you already have those characters, you have 1580 characters, 1600 or 1610 characters, same thing. I would just use the Makoko Express on the character that you're playing. You don't need to play multiple characters. I really suggest to play one character because this game always give you a catch-up mechanic. Since we're going to get a lot of solo raids now, any other raids in the future could be solo as well. So when you go play something else and come back, you can just enjoy Lost Ark at its core. Therefore, you don't really need to increase your grind time by making more ults, etc. Some people are definitely gonna say use it on an ult. That is when, if you want a main swap, because if you don't like your main, you can actually use the Makoko Express and play as a new player. Just progress through the game and try to catch up until September. That will be the goal. And if you're existing players, it's a little bit different. There's a lot of questions for this. If you have an ult that is 1580, or if you have an ult that is like whatever, personally, it's really up to you. I would not push anything. If you're something like, if your main is at 1610, a lot of people ask, hey, I'm at like 1610, should I push to 1620? I think if you don't have any character that is not 1620, I would try to push to 1620 and start working on elixirs until September. And September is 2 months, you have a lot of time. And when you reach 1620 before that, because you've been grinding a lot and stuff, you have an option. You can run Echidna normal and use the advanced honing to get to 1630 to enjoy Theomine hard and try Echidna hard as well to get level 7 transcendences, right? But if you're at 1620, you will be getting 40 set elixir and then we get level 3 transcendences. When you reach September with that, you can just simply go to T4, get to 1640, and you can try Echidna hard, Theomine hard, and Behemoth all at once and try to get transcendence level 7. So essentially, if you don't have any character that is 1620, I would suggest to push to 1620. So if you have a 1630, a full level 1630 with full transcendence, I would not spend any money on anything. You don't need to do anything for this. You would just keep hoarding gold, hoarding gold, hoarding gold. And this is also the same case for 1630 plus. Now, a real question is, let's say you have multiple characters and you're thinking about pushing your ult to 1620. I know why most people are thinking about this, because when T4 comes out, people are going to be running Chaos Dungeons, right? And when you run Chaos Dungeons, you'll be selling mats, and mats are going to be selling like hotcakes for Korea. They're going to be honing like crazy to get plus 20 immediately to climb through the ranking boards. Someone like me, I have 5 1640s, and then I have 1630. I've been parking her in 1630 at full transcendence for the longest time because I didn't want it to spend it to go to Behemoth. It was way too expensive. I needed to make my plus 20 to like 21 to get to advanced honing to 1640. It is so much money. So she's been here for a while, and when July comes, she's immediately going to be 1650, and all my other characters are going to be 1660 because the rumor is plus 20 eye levels, but I don't know how much that is going to be, because if they're saying 1620 to 1640, the same math might not apply for higher level characters. So this one we don't know for sure until the written version of the roadmap comes out for Korea. So going back, the roster is going to be running Chaos Dungeon, the new Chaos Dungeon that drops the T4 material 6 times. So if I do it, I wonder how much gold am I gonna make. But if the gold isn't gonna be that much, maybe I will not spend another ult to be 1620. Honestly, my suggestion that I always say is, if you like playing that class, you push it. If you don't like playing that class, you don't push it. Because if you push that specific class and you spent 100k gold on it, you have to make that gold back in order for it to make a net positive. And this game, it rarely happens because you kind of dig a deeper rabbit hole. Ultimately, it is up to you. From July, if you like, let's say look at my stream and then I'm doing a Chaos Dungeon, I'm selling mats, and if I'm making like hella money, maybe it is an option for you to try a little bit and try to get the ults to 1620. But that kind of stuff, it depends how much you actually play the game. From there, the decision is completely up to you. And a TLDR for this TLDR, it's hoard gold. It's hoarding gold time. I'm hoarding gold until July. I've been hoarding since 2 months ago. So I have 3.4 million gold right now. Maybe around July, I think I'm going to have about maybe like 4.1 or 4.2 million gold for me to spend to try to prepare for the newest raid for one character. If I can get it ready already, I'll be just slowly working on my other characters to reach the new raid or something like that. All that stuff, excited to be planning that out. All the builds are going to be different, accessories, all these things together. I don't know how much it will cost, but we'll see how that goes. To wrap it up, again, let's hoard gold. Thanks for listening to this long conversation. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments or visit my stream to ask. Thank you guys, and have a good night. Bye-bye.